In today's society, people are extra conscious about keeping fit. For the athlete, there's tennis or racquetball, but for the more rugged outdoors person, there's paintball. We'd like to refer to them as the weekend warriors. Hi, I'm Janet Arlotta, and welcome to Focus On. Today we're talking about a topic of rising popularity, a sport, paintball. Joining us today is Steve Petrella and later on Terry Kemery, co-founders of North Jersey Paintball Club. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Hi, how you doing, Janet?
I'm sure many of our viewers are wondering what exactly is paintball. Could you explain the object of the sport and maybe a little bit about it?
Paintball is a sport or a game. It's played basically for fun. It's like capture the flag, tag, hide and seek, a combination of all those childhood games we all remember. Except it's played by adults, and it's much more challenging.
How did the sport originate?
Well, I think it originated by the guns were originally designed to mark trees for the Forestry Service. I think probably a few bored Forestry Service workers started shooting each other, just fooling around, and it caught on and spread like wildfire. That was in 1981, so the sport's about 9 years old right now.
What basic equipment would you need to start playing the sport?
Actually, the way most of the fields are set up, you don't need any equipment at all. You just show up and they'll supply you the equipment. Most beginners don't have any equipment. They don't have to make a purchase right away. They can just go and rent the equipment there.
What type of equipment would you give them if they rented it from you?
Well, they would have safety equipment, goggles, face masks to protect their face, and the pistol to shoot with.
I see you brought some toys with you here today. You want to show us a little bit about them?
Yeah,
what
safety
they do?
equipment first. Most important are goggles. These will stop a paint pellet, and one of our main rules at the field is these have to be worn at all times during play. Right. And they're safety rated. And then also a mask will protect your mouth and nose from an impact if you do get hit in the head. One of the basic pistols that we use, that the beginners use, is a Splatmaster pistol. It's a plastic pistol. It's CO2 powered. It uses a little 12-gram capsule like this. And paintballs look like this. This is what we shoot. They come in colors, variety of colors, every color of under the rainbow. If I can get one open, I'll show you. They're about the size of a gumball.
And when they're shot, they explode?
They break. It's a gelatin capsule, the same as used in the pharmaceutical industry. It's water-based paint, non-toxic, hypoallergenic, and it washes out of your clothes with water.
Oh, okay. How much would an average gun run you if you were to buy one on your own?
A basic pistol like this probably runs around $60 or $70, and they go up from there all the way up to $500. If you want a metal gun, we call them high-tech guns.
Is there just one type of ammunition in the paintballs that you've shown us?
These are the basic balls are this size. This is a 68 caliber ball. There are two other sizes which are smaller, 62 caliber and 50 caliber, which are smaller. But 90% of the guns are using 68 caliber ball.
As in other sports, people spend lots of money, hundreds of dollars on equipment. Now in paintball, there's no exception. What extra equipment could they buy if they wanted, or extra high-tech gear? Well,
most people will buy camouflage clothing so that they can hide in the woods better. They'll buy a helmet maybe to protect their head. They'll naturally buy their own gun. You need a pouch to carry your paintballs in. You need boots, gloves. I imagine you could spend $1,000 on equipment if you wanted to, easily.
Wow. And do you know anyone who does spend that much money?
Oh, sure.
Really?
Most of the regular players will spend that much because when you get involved in the sport and you play, it's just like skiing or something like that. You get to the point where you don't want to rent the skis from the ski lodge. You want to have your own set of skis, and you want to have your own boots and all that sort of stuff.
I understand that you also write for a magazine, Action Pursuit and Paintball? How did you get started doing that?
Well, I have some writing background, and when I got involved in the sport, there were some things I was learning, and I wanted to help other players who are just getting interested in the sport. So I wrote a couple articles, and I was fortunate enough to get them published. And now I'm a regular contributor to Action Pursuit Games magazine. There's 4 magazines in this country, and there's several in England.
Wow. And they deal just strictly with paintball?
Strictly with paintball.
As if a ski magazine, and since you brought up skiing,
Mm-hmm.
or any other type of magazine, not a Sports Illustrated, which would incorporate it. A strictly
Right, this
paintball
is
magazine.
strictly paintball magazines, yeah.
What type of articles do you write? Just basically
I've done
editorials?
numerous ones, and but mostly on basic tactics and strategy, on playing styles and stuff.
Now, if I were to start playing this sport, is it safe and fun for beginners?
Yes. Besides, our main thrust is to have fun, and our second thrust is to have safe fun. That's why the goggles and the masks are required. And also, an important point to mention is we don't like to mix beginners with experienced players, and if we ever do, we try to make sure that the sides are balanced up, or we give the beginning player 2 lives per game, so that if he gets knocked out and eliminated early in the game, he can go back and come back in the game again, so he gets the experience.
So you do set up novice games?
Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do for a group of novice players, if they can all get together and play 15 or 20 of them, we like to segregate them from the rest of the crowd and let them play and learn at their own speed. And the referees and judges will help them, give them tips and tell them how to operate the guns and basic tactics and so forth.
Would they use the same equipment as the other players? Or do you usually start beginners off on a lesser
Beginners
gun?
usually start off with this pistol. Some beginners want to jump right in. I've seen beginners who have played the first time with a pistol, and next week they come back and they'll rent a high-tech gun, and 2 weeks later they'll come back and they'll have full regalia, their own gun, the camouflage, and they just go bonkers for the sport.
Now, could basically anyone play this sport?
Basically anyone. We have people who are members of the club who are handicapped. One of the guys has a wooden leg, and he hobbles around the woods, and he has a great time.
So, but even with the rough terrain that I've seen at your club, they're able to get around, the handicapped?
In the particular instance of John, who has the wooden leg, we usually tell him where we're going, and he takes off 5 minutes ahead of time and meets us there, because it takes him a little bit longer to negotiate the trails and so forth, but he has a great time. In fact, he says it's one of the best things that's ever happened to him, and it does build confidence, especially for someone who's handicapped, and even someone who's not handicapped, someone who's been sitting behind a desk 40 hours a week, looking at a tube or pushing papers around. They can get out and release that stress and tension and do something aerobic, and plus they're out in nature.
What would you say to encourage beginners to try the sport?
I would say that they can have a lot of fun if they would just come out and test it out. And I'd give them a money-back guarantee even. They'll have the time of their lives.
Do you have many beginners that start here?
Oh yeah. About 50% of the regular players are novices and beginners.
Well, thank you for joining us, Steve.
Thank you, Janet.
And maybe I'll see you out on the field sometime.
I hope so.